3rd of December. My name is Svetlana Chepurenko, and to the Day of Veterans Possibilities, we're talking about social adaptation and professional integration of veterans in the field of energy efficiency and renewable energy. Today, we will have a broad discussion with representatives of the state and NGOs and responsible business. And today I will present the participants of today's discussion. Zhanna, Patsora, President of the Public Organization Business for Partnership. Tarasenko, Deputy Chairman of the Verkhovna Rada Committee on Social Policy and Protection of Veterans' Rights. Online, we will have Lyudmila Yaremchuk, who is an expert of Analytical Center Association of Cities of Ukraine. Also, we have Oleksandra Dovha, HR Director of iSolar. A little bit later, we will have Yuliia Kovalenko, Head of the NGO Ukraine 2.0. Also, we have Oleksii, Savin, Director of the Sustainable Banking Department of Ukrgasbank. And online, we will have Ivan Mukamel, Department Chair of the Veterans Initiative Ministry of Veterans Affairs of Ukraine. So we will start talking about the topic of our briefing. Mr. Taras, tell us, please, what are the initiatives and policies of the state right now on social adaptation of veterans in the sphere of energy efficiency? Please, microphone is yours. Friends, good afternoon. I want to say that right now, practically, law is adopted. It will enter into force in January of 2026. It's the law on veterans entrepreneurship. This law is not about social adaptation as such, but when we talk to veterans, we do conduct internal interviews. We ask the question of 4 categories. What is the most important for you? This is physical health, mental health, financial stability, or social adaptation. So I will tell you that no one knows of veterans what is social adaptation for them. Social adaptation for them, they put it on the last spot. And financial stability, they identify on the first place. We work on the bill of laws on transition to civil life, and we work on the fact that veteran that is released from the military service, despite the fact that war is ongoing, that this veteran would have the period for their rehabilitation of mental and physical health, and then period for financial stability. If we talk about energy efficiency as the element of the fact that now every city suffers from missile hits, from lack of electricity in apartments and housing, we need to understand that electricity is important. And before this session, I said we're not living anywhere because there's electricity here. It affects the whole well-being of the person. And Zhanna and we talked about this before. Veterans from Poltava, they are already installing solar stations, and they're trying to use such opportunities that could be used in their businesses, in their homes. I think this has a huge perspective, taking into account that we don't know how military landscape will develop, but energy efficiency of every house, in the village, in the settlement, every multi-storied building. This is very important so that we could win in the war. So I think that veterans that went through military actions, hostilities, they will need to have opportunity to start up the business because they have experience in the war, but they need to get the funding from the state, which would be ensured and provided starting with the next year. So this could be combined. We could train the new professions. They could start new business, and in this way they could enhance every community in energy efficiency. I think this is very powerful so that we could, in the long-term perspective, we could win and we could rebuild the country. Thank you, Taras. I want to suggest to talk more about entrepreneurship and business of veterans. I want Mr. Ivan to speak right now. Ivan Mukamel. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, Mr. Ivan. tell us more about what are the state initiatives right now, state mechanisms of cooperation between veterans communities, between business, state, so that our veterans could have opportunity to implement their entrepreneurship initiatives in the sphere of energy efficiency as well. Thank you so much for the invitation, first of all. Secondly, this work is being conducted so that veterans could find themselves and could feel more comfortable as they transition to a new life, as Taras mentioned, transition to the civil life. But one of the signs of social adaptation or transition to this civil life is the opportunity to find themselves and find the job, the thing that this person wants to do. That's why there are initiatives that are being supported. First of all, right now, they are developing the legal acts to implement the law that Mr. Taras mentioned. Secondly, there is the Ukrainian Veterans Fund that provides grant support to veterans in different directions. It cooperates with Ukrainian business, which also helps to fulfill the grant programs by the areas. This was an agricultural topic, IT topic, but business is actively engaged to the creation of opportunities for veterans to start their own businesses. Besides that, if a veteran has the opportunity or doesn't see himself in the implementation as an entrepreneur, Ministry of Veterans Affairs of Ukraine started the platform of career of veteran, which is the tool to find jobs. And on this platform, there are possibilities to implement and create. This is almost an interview when an AI helps to create your CV, gain your knowledge, experience you have gained during the war. Now these skills could be used in civil life, and it can help you find a job in the civil life. It helps veterans to find a CV, to prepare CV and find those areas and directions where it could be interesting for a veteran. Now, we are not limiting them. And any business, for free of charge, they can register this platform. They can submit vacancies where they want to see veterans as employees. We have 2,000 veterans that are already registered at this platform and over 3,000 vacancies. This number is constantly changing because there are new ones that are opening up. We had 40,000 vacancies at one time at the platform in order to find jobs for veterans. So this market is very interesting. They are interested in veterans, and there are opportunities to find jobs. In order to find themselves in the career, also are implemented possibilities for the professional training, retraining, to get the high education if this is envisaged by the education of the veteran, and if the employer is ready to provide this training possibilities for the veteran, state is ready to fund, assist, and ensure this training within the framework of Resolution 342 of the Cabinet of Ministers. Tell me when I need to stop in order not to take too much time. We have many initiatives, but I don't want to take too much time. Okay, one more minute about the most important initiatives that you have. Also, Ministry has developed for employers methodological recommendations and guidelines for the employment of veterans. So this is the document which is the recommendations for the businesses, but it was created together with the business representatives so that we could understand how to adapt jobs, how to prepare policies of the companies, what needs to be taken into account, what needs to be taken into account from the standpoint of legislation. So these are guidelines, what needs to be done in order to adapt the policy, the business, and find opportunity for the comfortable creation of conditions for veterans. We're not saying that this is the separate procedure or policy. No, this is the human-centered approach, but we need to adapt it in the legislation so that business could be more flexible, could be more aware of the veterans' engagement. So this is the the second community of businesses which is friendly to veterans who signed the principles of the conducting of the business. These are 7 companies who voluntarily first of all, they were developed by the business, and then businesses are joining and they declare that they're ready to implement and fulfill, and they're ready to implement it in the system of employment for veterans. I think these are the key points. Thank you so much, Mr. Ivan, about informing us about what the programs and initiatives exist. Ms. Zhanna, we heard what state is doing for veterans who are ready to work, who want to implement themselves for the sake of state and responsible business to find themselves. What about businesses? How open are they for this cooperation? To which extent they are ready to take part in these programs of social adaptation? Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you so much for joining us in this discussion. I would like to tell you about our week of energy efficiency, within framework of which we are dedicating second day to the veterans. The week of energy efficiency, this is the huge platform, which in course of 3 years already, we are talking about energy efficiency. Yesterday, we had the discussion about effective diplomacy and startups, and now we want to talk about today we want to talk about veterans, and second panel will be dedicated to the human capital. Why we have decided to join this topic? Because I think that every responsible Ukrainian now is thinking about the fact, what can we do for our victory, for our veterans? And that's why our community, this is our social responsibility. It's not quite our topic, but we decided to suggest, because our business, the members of our community, they are connected to the renewable energy sources of energy. These are companies that in Ukraine do energy efficient sphere. So starting with the April of month, we launched the training center about solar energy, and part of the project was dedicated to the veterans. Ukrgasbank supported us. I'm very thankful to the team. These are very initiative people, patriots who supported our idea, and we have developed it as inclusive one from the standpoint of training, that at any moment, whenever you have electricity, you can get the training. And now we are developing the platform. Of course, it took us a bit too long, but we're launching it, and we will have the platform, the institutions of vocational school, they are writing their curriculums, and we will post it on this platform. We have invited Ministry of Veterans Affairs. We are very thankful to them for supporting us. Thanks for dissemination of this information, because we want to support the new profession on the basis of community. It's related to the assistance of veterans. And we work not only to help promote business, but it's a socially adaptive union. We want to support the state. That the state, despite all incidents that we have, political incidents, we want our state to stand, to be resilient. That's why we are making these processes in order to affect the community itself, the Association of Cities of Ukraine. We have them in our project, and then profession itself. So there we will add elements of business. If the person will be able to stand or the person will be able to create businesses, it will be good for our companies who will be able to launch the network. And This will give the new opportunity for people to grow. This is a market that is growing and developing rapidly right now. Solar energy will provide some independence to us. So this is our project. Also, I would like to say that I listened to Ms. Yuliia on our conference. She said that we don't have systematic approach in our state. My subjective opinion is that we need to look at tactics and strategy. For example, our business and our company iSolar, if we never appealed to them, nobody would know that registration would be possible. So they lack information policy for people to know that people could appeal and know where to go to. This should be in the strategic communication in media. This is where we popularize these topics as well. So I won't take your time. Thank you so much, and I wish you all to have the fruitful discussion. Thank you, Ms. Zhanna. Please, technical team, help Lyudmila Yaремчук from Association of Cities of Ukraine. Help us hear her. What role do communities take place in the social adaptation of veterans? How they are included in this cooperation in energy sector? Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join this discussion. Thank you for talking about veterans policy on such a high level. Right away, I want to say that Oleksandr Volodymyrovich could not take part in this discussion because there are budgetary discussions right now taking place. And even though the budget topic directly affects all the events and all the measures that are implemented in communities for the veterans included. So for us, budget topic is very important. Speaking about veterans, unfortunately, financial possibility of communities is quite different. That's why it affects directly on the programs that are being implemented in communities in the sphere of social integration of veterans, defenders, and fallen soldiers. So for us, families of fallen soldiers, that's why for us it's important in the part of business. It's important to provide opportunity to our veterans who want to start their own business. It's important to have funds allocated in the local communities so that more veterans could launch and start their own business. I want to thank the Ministry of Veterans Affairs of Ukraine and the Veterans Fund who envisage funds allocation on the state level to support activities and businesses of our defenders. Their own business is very important right now, to our opinion, plays an important role in the social integration. And veterans, they set the tone of life of the amalgamated community, because they do not only do their own business, but they return to their normal life. They set the tone for the decisions that are being made in the territorial communities. And their decision is important for us, where funds will be allocated. What will be also significant for us is that our veterans are talking about retraining, requalification, additional education. So it's wonderful that our communities understand, and they also see in these local programs, measures and events the opportunity for the retraining. We can talk a lot about veterans policy in communities, but I want to thank again to every defender, every veteran who stand by the communities and I want to thank all those who affect the policy in places. Thank you, Miss Ludmila, for joining our discussion. Now we would like to talk to business representatives who implement these programs, and this program exists in iSolar. I know it was developed together with veterans who work in your company. Tell us more about this program. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'll be honest with you. This is for the first time that I'm here. Thank you, Ms. Zhanna, for the invitation. It's pleasant to be here. It's wonderful to represent business, and we can talk about needs of business in the veterans' policies. The topic is nothing about us. Nothing about us without us. And in the development of the veterans policy, we started with the fact that we started launching very simple things as how we communicate, how we interact, how we create comfortable space for veterans. This was our first step in which we took. And if we go back to the numbers, we have about 10% of veterans who work in our company. We are ready to hire them even more. And if we talk in general about the company, next slide. And if we can talk about the company Solar, on this market of solar efficiency, it already has had 7 years of experience on the market. We have unique projects in all territory of Ukraine. If we talk about central office, these are 4 subsidies that we have in all of Ukraine. And we present the sphere of energy efficiency in all of Ukraine. And then we hire specialists and experts in all of Ukraine. And as I have mentioned prior to this, 10% of all these workers, these are veterans. The question is, how do we interact? How can we create these comfortable conditions for them? So we decided to create the policy of veterans program. I will tell you that we were not the only ones. We didn't create it by ourselves. We needed assistance. We went to the military administration, to NGOs, and to communities of veterans. We wanted to ask their opinion. And we created the first step, Stefan for veterans. The second step, this is implementation of basic traditions. And for me, this is the silent moment of silence and the identification of respect for veterans and mobilized specialists through greeting and congratulation with holidays. Thirdly, we understood that we need to ask veterans themselves, where shall we move forward? Because basic things we have closed, but we want to create for people. We want to create best conditions. We gathered people and we said, we as a company, what can we do for you? We received the feedback, we listened to them, we formed the enlarged system of benefits for our workers. There are additional days for honoring the fallen soldiers, days of working with psychologists, rehabilitation programs, because it consists with not only what company can provide, but as Ms. Zhanna mentioned, very often they lack informational component. Our goal is to create such policy to include the informational part, what state is already doing for veterans, and it's a huge part of assistance, what other businesses are doing, checkups of the organism. So we collected all this information. And second part is what we as a company, we provide for specialists that they would feel better. And the next step, additional stage, we have created the wonderful project. This is our baby, Solar Academy. This is the place where not only are reintegrated and trained veterans, but they also teach, instruct. On the picture, we have the veteran who is the instructor and teacher right now. And you can see how he's dressed. He's half civilian, he's half military. Thank you so much, Ms. Oleksandra. This is a great example for other companies about how to build the veterans policy. Ms. Yuliia, I want to talk to you right now. State is country is changing, economy is changing. How much businesses are adapting to these changes, and how much time they dedicated to the employment of the veterans, reintegration, development of new skills, retraining, development of new partnerships, etc. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and speak, because I think these issues are very important. This is the topic of energy efficiency as one of the components of the important sector of economy, energy sector, and topic of veterans, because these are people thanks to whom economy and we all still exist and we still can live, and we can have opportunity to speak about these topics right now. So I would build this discussion in the following way. When we raise these components as one topic, when we talk first of all about economy, and I hear topics from previous speakers about the fact that state is doing a lot for this sphere. I have a different opinion. State didn't even start to do what it could have done in this sphere, because the sphere of energy efficiency, in my understanding, because this is my specialization, this is the topic of my PhD research. It was related to the energy law and the understanding of energy efficiency. First of all, in my mind, is related to issues that are in the constitution of Ukraine, that everyone has the right for secure conditions of living and environment. But now we need to talk about energy efficiency as the issue of the national security, because in the time when we feel every day the constant missile strikes, we have problems in the energy sector that I will not repeat right now. Everyone knows about them. It's the issue of reserving every kilowatt of energy. This is the issue of our victory. And in this key, everyone who promotes energy efficiency to be not only the declaration, but to also be relevant. Everyone who is developing this topic is approaching us to the victory. I think the state of Ukraine now sees how these processes were built earlier. They're not. They cannot go through the trial of reality, and the state needs to refresh strategically the vision and has to rebuild the sector of economy. And veterans, as for me, here, they are an important subject that appears here, because this is not the group of support of this process, but this is the new technological class which appears because the people who return our defenders, these are thousands of people who know to do certain things that others don't know how to do. This is to work in conditions and in the systems of a very difficult complexity. These are people who can be responsible. These are people who know how to live in conditions of ambiguity. These are people who can make decisions faster than drones are falling. So in any developed civilized state, in any modern economy, everyone who has common sense, they understand that they would call this sector of people, they would call them as the golden staff of the country. Our state doesn't understand it yet, and it acts as if veterans is a social category of people. But my opinion is such that to a degree, this is the class of engineers of the future. And if we could have the right approach to these processes, and if we could build a certain systematic dynamics, we could then achieve huge results, if we could combine all these people and systematically around the strategic goals and the sphere of energy and energy efficiency as the component is not an exclusion. Because I think that here, when I talk about systematic approaches, systematic decisions, we have to correlate possibilities of the people and possibilities of economy. If we talk about veterans and we identify certain peculiarities, features of physical state or other competencies of people, then we in the sphere of energy efficiency, about people with amputations, we could direct them towards IT sphere, analysis, monitoring of certain processes where their complexities of life that occurred due to war would not limit and restrict them to the phenomenal competencies that they could have in the future. For example, PTSD as main features could be criteria when people would fulfill technical roles, administration, being dispatch or moderator. If the person does not have the full capacities, the person could be involved in energy audit, energy installations. I'm talking about staff and possibilities of the people. If there would be the plan of routing and categorization, which could be the assistance to the communities and places in order to direct people into the right direction, including the energy efficiency, this would have launched new processes and dynamics, because I think that in places, in communities, there are enough people, 3-5 people, veterans, who would have joined to achieve the common goal, which are related to energy efficiency and the consequences of war. They could have rebuilt, they could build new solar generations. But why plan is needed? Why strategy is needed? I think the state here needs to become the developer that is not writing the new idea, that is throwing it there, try, maybe something will come up with it. But it needs to work with a dynamic mechanism and operatively respond in case something goes wrong in course of implementation, taking into account the responsibility on itself in case something goes wrong. I'm sure that we are right now in a very, very difficult time, most difficult time. The level of economy and the team that represents it is in deep low level. But going through this crisis, I think it can help push us all up to a totally different level. So here the issue of energy and energy efficiency can play an important role, can be something that can lead us to the results when we become the most prominent in this sphere and in the world as well. We would really want to have that happen. And to launch all these programs and initiatives, we need funding. I want to talk to you, Mr. Oleksii. What are the financial mechanisms and tools to launch these veterans initiatives in the sphere of energy efficiency? Thank you so much for the invitation. Yes, the topic is very, very relevant. Dear veterans, wishing you health and respect. It would be great to start presentation. Ukrgasbank in Ukraine has become the leader in this among banks in ESG. These are the main topics that we are discussing. S is social. So here we have good experience as experts. We have the experience of 8 years. We have objectively something to suggest. But we'll start with the social part. Long time ago, we understood the necessity to interact with veterans, with members of their families, with people who suffered from the war. That's why we have a special program called Veteran Support. It's a special program to support the defenders of Ukraine. This program is our contribution to creating comfortable conditions for those who gave their strength, health, and time protecting the peace and freedom of our country. It helps with crediting the program and creation of the businesses. We offer affordable mortgages, small business support, free account servicing, and advice on financial solutions. Here is the general information about the fact that we have the technical office, and when veteran starts his own business and, for example, not on installation, but he wants to decrease costs of the solar station, maybe he lacks qualifications, bank will provide consultations. But here I would like to speak about the fact that all speakers mentioned that veterans will start their businesses, but let's not forget that many veterans left their businesses when they went to war. They have put it on pause, and they will return. They will return into their business because this is something they created in course of years, and they will want to receive it back. So for that, the bank has a couple of programs which can assist. Some of them are quite known, some are brand new. But if we can concentrate on the projects of resource efficiency and energy efficiency, these are directions of financing that we are focusing ourselves on. Right now, of course, 70% of all sustainable banking, these are the projects of distributed generation, these are the projects of the networks, the installation of smart grid technologies. This is the issue of the national security. This is the provision for the life and health of people, because if there are no energy sites, then schools, hospitals, metro will not work. We have already seen it, how it affects. So we have the general program 579. Many businessmen who started business, they encountered this program in 2021. In course of this time, the program became even larger. There are possibilities to start mortgages, to take mortgages. 150 million hryvnia are available. So it's possible to get good results, and it's possible to enter the projects not only in the development of the particular business, but they could start their own businesses if it's if economically feasible, and if it has good quality equipment, and it will be implemented with good contractors with whom we are sitting here. So bank is always ready to support. There will be the verification of risks, but for businesses, this will be the advantage. If a business went through the verification of the bank, then the chances are that all will be good and business will work well. The important program is the support of our international programs, if EBRD. They are providing the projects of guarantees and guarantees with cashback. The guarantee is for big business, 70% from the sum of the credit. The first thing, in order to start the business, they need to launch the pledge. They have to use this bail 50%, and then cashback. This is guarantee that is being paid by EBRD after the project is implemented. And if there is a basic component, 10-15% for energy efficiency for projects of support of veterans and for the victims of war, they will have the opportunity to receive the higher cashback, up to 30%. And here there's a second category, which shows that if the owner is the veteran, if he has in his enterprise, he has over 50% of people who work, who are veterans, or if he serves among his clients, 20% of his permanent staff are veterans. This can be energy efficient equipment. Over 20% of his clients are veterans in the last 12 months. The additional generation of electricity, such person can receive the cashback. The third block, the cashback is a little bit lower, but there is an additional guarantee mechanism for EU for business. It can cover up to 80%, and then this mechanism is launched. This is a different program. We will be brief today about it. There was an example of implementation. I also wanted to focus attention on the solar station of Ukraine for the personal consumption and for the sale on the market. It's not quite relevant, but it could have certain nuances, and it's better to implement it with the system of accumulated energy. Why? Because not everyone knows the peculiarities of the energy. If you install the solar station for personal consumption with the network inverter, when there is a power outage, solar station is not working. Sorry, this is a different topic of discussion. Yes. So please appeal to us. These can be different topics: mortgage, deposit, and the employment in the bank. We have many different directions and areas. There are many different professions that exist in the bank. So we invite you for the cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Oleksii. Yes, I have an addition. Our company, we are open for the joint projects. We also do the installation of UZ. So we don't only hire veterans. We are ready to assist them with the implementation of such projects. We are ready to be partners in such cases. Thank you so much for your initiatives. Dear guests, maybe there are certain questions for our speakers. If you have questions, raise your hand. We will give you the microphone. Any questions, comments within the framework of our topic? If there are no questions, I want to thank our guests. Thank you for the work that you are talking. I want to remind you, we were talking about social adaptation and professional integration of veterans in the field of energy efficiency and renewable energy. The conversation will continue. Topic for discussion will be on human capital at 12:30. We will continue. Stay with us.